through the social universe, and in many cases, the secrets of the universe itself. And one of the opportunities that we have today to be able to discuss is a universal principle of education. So we actually have the Associate Dean of the College of Health Sciences from Midwestern University, Dr. Jeffry is joining us today, so definitely welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely a pleasure to have you. So a lot of people get a little bit confused. You know, Midwest, in fact, our videographer, as we sat down, said Midwestern sounds like Ohio. What is the Ohio doing here in the Phoenix area?
Well, he's not far from the mark. The parent campus for Midwestern University was founded in 1900 in Chicago.
Okay.
But in the mid-90s, they were looking for opportunities for expansion and found the Phoenix area was the perfect place to do so. So they bought land in Glendale and began the building of what is now the largest health sciences university in the state.
That's amazing, even over the University of Arizona.
Well, of course, the University of Arizona is larger when you consider all the undergraduate programs and so on. But in terms of the health sciences programs that we provide at Midwestern, they span the gamut from medical schools, dental schools, optometry programs, dentistry, and so on. And I'm, of course, the director of the podiatric medical school.
Which I'm a big fan of. We'll talk about that later and probably go a little bit deeper on the health show as well, but keep on going.
So there are a number of programs, all at the master's and doctoral level, and they focus solely on providers of health care or scientists researching issues like that.
Okay, wonderful. And well, first let's find out a little bit about you, then let's tie you into the university and how that all came about. Tell us about your background and what made you go into the foot sciences.
That's a fair question. I knew from a young age that I wanted to be in medicine, but it wasn't until I was late in my undergrad studies that I was trying to pick a particular discipline. It was my father who said, "Have you ever thought about podiatry?" To which I responded, "What's that?" And a lot of research and shadowing later, it was clear this was a profession for me, a profession where I could make a difference in people's lives, prescribe medication, perform surgery, and relieve pain, and yet have an acceptable lifestyle that allows you to have a little family life or participate in community activities. And that's proven to be just the case.
And he's not diminishing that. It sounds so official coming out of his mouth, and just as with me, it's not as official, but it sure is very much. I appreciate their industry so much, and even though it wasn't Dr. Page that actually performed these services for me many years ago. But let me give you an example. Last night it rained, and if anybody knows anything about rain in Phoenix, it's not plentiful. But when it comes, we sure appreciate it. It's actually my favorite weather, so all of you out there in Oregon and Seattle who that's not your favorite weather, donate us some more and we'll be happy to take it down here. And I absolutely love that weather because I'm one of the few natives of Arizona. And just it's all been so much sunshine that we really appreciate the rain when it comes. But also when the rain comes, because Arizona is a bit of a dusty place, it has a smell that no other place in the world has that is just amazing. I love the smell of rain just after it rains.
It's so refreshing.
Absolutely refreshing. And so last night, I decided to run Thunderbird Mountain. And so I ran Thunderbird Mountain, and I ran and ran and ran and ran until it was dark up at the very top of the mountain. And then I came back down completely in the dark. And if I had not been able to have a podiatrist that looked at my feet 20 years ago, I would not be doing that. I wouldn't have been able to go out there in nature and smell the rain. And I also wouldn't have been able to come in all sweaty and still have family home evening with my family. So, and my son is so motivated because he watches his dad out there being active that he's one of the few kids in school that can actually do one pull-up at least. He's very young, and he's asked all the major athletes, "Can you do a pull-up?" He's the only one that can do a pull-up. And so, anyway, the point is that it literally changed my life. What happened with me, I was I wouldn't say a major athlete, I wasn't a collegiate athlete, but I did have one undefeated year before I got to college in wrestling, and that was an amazing time for me. In fact, each night I read, my wife reads, like she's reading Treasure Island as a kid, but I read out of my journal that I wrote when I was a kid. And so I just won my first match in wrestling when I was 12 years old. in my journal, and so to me it's very exciting. To my kids are like, yeah, yawn, yawn. Did we get on to Treasure Island?
That's a great legacy for your children.
You bet. But these are all I expected to have my health with me for the rest of my life. Well, when I got into college, I didn't know what was going on, but my when I wake up in the morning, my feet would it would take a while for them to. It was like I was sore, and that I had somehow used my feet too much, and I thought maybe walking around campus that was a little bit much, and it got progressively worse until 4 years later. I was really bad, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to have surgery. Something horrible is going to happen to me in my life, and what ended up happening, so grateful for it, and I'm so completely embarrassed by it. It was an $80 fix. I went to the doctor, charged me $80 for it, and I'm not sure that every doctor condones a cortisone shot, but it was pretty bad, and so he gave me a cortisone shot and gave me orthotics for $80. And I think I had to do one follow-up cortisone shot for $40. So probably the entire fix was $120. And now, about every 4 years I go in, and you probably recommend more often, but every 4 years I go in and get more orthotics.
Well, I would challenge your listeners to answer the question, name a sport that doesn't rely on healthy feet.
Exactly.
It's involved
including having a good family. I mean, it's a sport to be able to have a great family, and to be able to be active and walk around in a healthy way. We go running as a family. All these things. There's just so much.
It's important to your overall health as well. You need to be physically active in order to maintain overall good health, whether that's ideal body weight or a healthy heart, or even mental health. The ability to do a little exercise really helps our psyche. And folks who live in the Phoenix area certainly appreciate the ability to stay active as you age. Being able to take care of the activities of daily living rely on one's ability to be mobile, and you need healthy feet for that.
And you don't realize until you have the pain. It's like you don't have headaches, and when you have a headache, you have no idea how much you appreciate the headache being gone when it's gone. You don't realize how much you appreciate not having pain in your feet until you have pain in your feet, and then it's gone. What an amazing thing! It's what I call the absence of pain theory.
Well, it's certainly true that it's something we take for granted.
Yeah.
We can challenge folks to take care of their only pair, because that pair is going to have to last you a lifetime. In a typical lifetime, folks will walk the equivalent of 4.5 times around the equator, 115 or 125,000 miles, and the foot has to be strong and agile.
If you think about it. You bet. So, how would a guy? I mean, were there things that I should have done throughout life to prevent I guess I should have just got orthotics earlier. In fact, I actually remember now. This memory came back to me while I was running last night. That right after high school, before college even, I worked at Salt River Project as an intern, and I remember asking a guy who ran marathons, how come my feet hurt? He said, I don't know, I think you need better shoes. You should try New Balance shoes. So that was the first time I bought New Balance shoes, but I wish you would have said, go see a foot doctor and get some orthotics.
Right. Well, his advice about shoe gear was probably right on, but it begins early. It begins in childhood. Parents need to understand that there is never a time when pain in the feet, legs, knees, hips is normal. It's not acceptable to throw it off to growing pains. There is no such thing as growing pains. So if a child is complaining or doesn't want to keep up with their playmates or wants to be carried when you're at the mall, that's the time to take them in for an assessment by a professional. Usually it's something relatively straightforward or simple that we can do to prevent inactivity or pain or suffering down the road. And some of these problems, if neglected, will lead to permanent deformity, and that certainly needs to be prevented.
Absolutely. And then we did talk about the show was going to have some web marketing in it, so we want to end this segment, which I think is coming up pretty close to ending, about what this has to do with social media and web marketing. Let me give you an example. I was on Facebook Sunday, and my brother posted up a picture of himself and my other brother. There's actually 9 kids in our family. I don't think I've ever shared that on the air. There's actually 9 children in our family. Wow. So I've got 4 brothers, 4 sisters, and 2 of my brothers were in China and actually climbed to the top of a mountain I can't pronounce And it was an amazing experience. But the picture they took, they were completely drenched with sweat. I actually thought when he posted that picture that they had just recently gone. I thought maybe they were up there over the weekend. So I responded to it and posted the question, are you both of you in China? And I didn't know it. And then there was a whole discussion about that. There were probably 30, 40, 50 people that got involved on the discussion about China and the whole experience of climbing mountains and getting healthy and family bonds and relationships. So now that you would not be able to do without a podiatrist. So there's your social media tie-in. Make sure that you take care of your feet, and so you have great pictures, you have great discussions on Facebook. Don't go away. When we come back from break, we're going to talk some more about Midwestern University as a business entity and what they've done to be able to grow and develop. And believe me, they're a very, very strong university. So don't go away. This is Kurt Wilhelm, your host of the Social Universe here on Real Talk Radio and Voice America, and we'll be right back after the break.